Good afternoon, and we'll call to order the City Council meeting for Tuesday, May the 14th. And we'll first start off with a roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Croson?
Present.
Councillor Dodick? Present. Councillor Middleton Hope?
Present.
Councillor Palladino?
Present.
Councillor Parker? Present. Councillor Schmidt-Rempel? Acting Mayor Campbell? Present. Deputy Mayor Carlson?
Here.
Mayor Higgin?
Present.
Members are all present and quorum is established.
Thank you. We'll move on to the reconciliation statement. The City of Lethbridge acknowledges that we're gathered on the lands of the Blackfoot people and pay respect to the Blackfoot people past, present, and future while recognizing and respecting their cultural heritage, beliefs, and relationships to the land. The City of Lethbridge is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta. And we'll move on with recognitions. I'll start to my far right, Councillor Middleton Hope.
Great, thank you very much, Your Worship, and I have several, which is kind of unusual for me. However, I will I will mention a couple of them. Councillor Croson and I attended McHappy Days and supported the Family Centre at Ronald McDonald House. She and I braved the rain on, was it Friday, Belinda? Wednesday. But it was great. We got, there was lots of funds that were donated through to the Ronald McDonald House and the Family Centre. We had recently a Canadian strategic group with Kathy Chisak, who was very helpful on a presentation on municipal advocacy and council. I attended Temptations food tasting on 5 Street. If you haven't been to this little restaurant, it's a piece of joy. There's lots of good food there. And when I was there weren't a whole lot of other people, so it's pretty easy to get into. We hosted the intermunicipal workshop on lawlessness, which was incredibly well attended, and I'll let the mayor speak about that in just a moment. He and I also attended the ABE Sports at the exhibition, which was incredibly well attended by young people, playing games that I'd never seen before. I had no idea what they were doing, but they looked like they were having a load of fun. We also attended the Whoop Up Days media launch, which occurred last week as well. Councillor Campbell, I guess it's Acting Mayor Campbell, the mayor and myself attended that, and I'm sure some other members of council that I didn't see. Second to last is the Mother's Day luncheon at Norbridge Senior Centre with councillors Croson, Schmidt-Rempel, and Campbell and myself in attendance, where we got to serve mothers from near and far. He didn't have to serve. In fact, he just got to sit there and eat, but that was okay. The rest of us took care of what was going on. I'll let him speak about Congo culture on Saturday, but I have one last shout out to go for. This is to Mr. Al Bieber, who turned 65 on the weekend. Al, congratulations. Thank you, Your Worship.
All right, next we have Councillor Croson.
Thank you, Mayor Higgin. It has been incredibly busy the last little while. Unfortunately, she's not here today, but I want to give a shout out to Bonnie Hilford, our city clerk, who led the first introduction to municipal government session back in April to explain to anybody who signed up on our jurisdiction and how the city operates, etc. I'm hoping we'll see more of those because it was very well received and people learned a lot. Also, thank you to Genesis Molesky and others in the planning department for arranging the Janes Walk, which was over May 3rd to 5th. Thanks to the organizers and those who actually led the walks and those who attended. If you've never been on a Janes Walk, it's an amazing way to learn about our community and celebrate various neighborhoods. Congratulations also to Kobe, Kale, and Tracy. They were in Ottawa and won the bronze at the 5-Pin Bowlers Association Youth Challenge, which, congratulations to them. And on the weekend, Arts Alive and Well opened at the SAG. Congratulations to all the students who were involved. If you haven't been, go. There's some incredible, beautiful, thought-provoking artwork. I know I certainly wasn't thinking that way in high school, but some of the students have created some incredible pieces, and it's well worth a look. And then the other thing, and it's going to be for many schools, but congratulations to everyone graduating over May and June. We have seeing so many graduations, and it's celebration of the hard work of the students and their parents, and hopefully their future is bright for everyone graduating this time of year.
Thank you. Councillor Palladino.
I have nothing to add, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Parker.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to follow up on Councillor Croson's comments. This particular weekend, CCH and Chinook had their graduation, and shout out to my son, and your son as well, Jackson, grandson. My son, his grandson. But it was a great weekend. It was a great celebration, and I know that Winston and LCI will be having their grads in the weeks to come. And congratulations to all the graduates, and congratulations to the parents as well. They should be proud. Thank you. Jackson.
All right. Okay, my far left, Councillor Dodick.
Nothing.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Oh, great. I'll go quick because I don't want Al Bieber's blood pressure to go up. So anyway, that's another story. Just first, lots of things to get to as well. Great to be part of the official announcement of the Edwards project, which was on Friday. 50 housing units, 37 deemed affordable. It was a joint partnership between the city and the province. Thanks to Ken Harvey for being there, and it's just nice to see doing something about housing that we need to do here in the city. And because of that, I was at that, which is why I was late to go to the Mother's Day thing at Norbridge, and I was ready to do some handing out, but so there, I would have, but they just said, sit here and eat. That's all so I said, okay, I'll do what you do. So anyway, I was supposed to be there. Also, thanks to the Congo celebration, I did not realize we had quite a population of Congo people in Congolese in the city, and they had a great celebration. And with the chairman of all of Congolese societies in Canada was there, so that was very nice to see. And just another proof of the diversity that we have in the city is just unbelievable. Wanted to make a big mention. The Sports Hall of Fame had their inductees banquet, and it was great to see all of the people that were there. But they wanted to make a big thank you to our own Belinda Croson, because of the historical look back at some people who have really contributed in the sporting world, and a lot of these people get missed for being in the Sports Hall of Fame. So you found Judge John A. Jackson, who did a lot of work way back, and so they wanted to make sure. So thank you to Councillor Croson. And also if you're looking for a wind ensemble concert, have you got one this Sunday, U of L, at 2:00, they're bringing grads from all over the country, professional and amateurs. About 80 of them will be on Sunday at the U of L, and also they're going to raise awareness. I know it's in the summer, but it's a raise awareness for the Angel Tree program that they have in Christmas time. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Acting Mayor Carlson. Sorry, that's vice versa.
all right.
Deputy Mayor Carlson, Acting Mayor Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nothing further to add, but just a bouquet to all of my colleagues, the council team, everyone at City Hall for their kind thoughts and wishes over the last couple of weeks. It's been a bit of a struggle week. I've been a bit absent, so a bouquet to all of you. For filling in. Thank you, especially Acting Mayor Campbell, who's had to jump into so many different events on my behalf. So just thank you to all of you for your kindness over the last little while. Thank you.
Councillor Schmidt-Rempel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. A thank you to our staff who helped organize and participated in the Community Conversations event on April 25th. It was good to see it so well attended, and thank you to the residents who came out to share their thoughts and ask questions. I was honored to attend the Day of Mourning ceremony on April 29th. This National Day of Mourning is an opportunity for us to remember and honor our coworkers, friends, and family who have experienced a workplace tragedy and renew our commitment to creating safer workplaces in our city. It was also fantastic to see the high-level innovation conference, esports championships, and Geek Fest at the Agri-Food Hub over the past few weeks. And congratulations to Environment Lethbridge on another successful reuse rendezvous this past weekend, and to the Lethbridge Sports Council for another active sports fest, which was also this past weekend. Congratulations to Economic Development Lethbridge and the Great Falls Development Alliance on the signing of an MOU. The two organizations met last week to discuss opportunities to strengthen, grow, and diversify food, agricultural, bioprocessing, and energy sectors that play an important role in each other's economic development. And finally, happy birthday to Councillor Dodick, who celebrated, I think it was his 21st birthday yesterday.
Thank you very much. Highlight most of the things that are done, just a couple here extra to add. It's been a very, as we've heard, a very busy few weeks since our last meeting. A little discussion, more stuff will follow here when it comes to Whoop Up Days, but there's a big announcement regarding Whoop Up Days that was at the Agri-Food Hub. Talk a little bit about the school tours and Councillor Crowson. It seems like every time I walk into the building here, Councillor Crowson's got another school that she's doing a tour to. So again, thank you for that work there. I've every now and again I'll get probably because they can't connect with you, I'll end up doing these tours, and I'll tell you what, they're sometimes I will say challenging, because it just depends on the group. Some are very active children, and which is really it's amazing. I know I would have been one of those ones that were probably asked to maybe step outside or something. Haven't had to do that with our children that have come to the school or come to the City Hall yet. But I had another event that it came up. I saw some post up there, and it was at St. Teresa of Calcutta School on the north side, and it was they were going to do a Filipino Day. So I had the opportunity to go over and participate in that. And they've had 2 other days prior, and that was Ukrainian Day. So they had served different foods from Ukraine, and also some different activities and games that they would play in that country, as well as Indigenous Peoples Day. And this was another one that was put on, a third one being Filipino Day. Now, unfortunately, when I was there, or fortunately, maybe for the laughs of many, I was asked to return the following day to do just a little run outside with the kids. I returned to do this run. It's pouring rain, so we thought we're pretty lucky. We can just take ourselves and we'll be inside. Well, the word came that, of course, it's not every day that you go and do a fun run, are you going to have good weather? So it was the day it was absolutely pouring. We wanted to do a little loop. Well, it ended up being 3 loops and about 2 miles or something, and I think I was about spent by the time we got done there. But I'll tell you what, these little athletes are training for the, I think it's not the Lost Soul, but it's the Mini Soul. I think it's a Kid's Soul, a run, and they were absolutely amazing. So it's something that I've said far too many times, and I'll say it again, is it's a joy to be able to see what the future of our communities looking like, and these students that are doing so well in school and the different activities that they have. So I'd like to support them any way we can. And to wrap up, Intermunicipal Lawlessness Reduction Workshop. That's a very big mouthful that my colleague, Councillor Middleton Hope, has spoke about. We had put on this event. We wanted to have be able to share some of our struggles and some of our successes. And so we had reached out to other communities within Alberta, expecting there'd be 6 or 7 to be able to kick this off, to start the first one. And we had almost 70 at the event that had attended, and it was quite shocking to me that so many wanted to attend and hear of the different struggles we have, but again, also to share the successes, and most of them spoke about the encampment strategy. And so I want to reach out to our team, our administration, and the work that's been done around the encampment strategy, and how incredible that is. It's making waves all the way across, Alberta. And a matter of fact, some we just heard from Saskatchewan are wanting to know more about this too. So that little workshop that it was extremely successful, and it's not always just sharing, of course, the frustrations and the struggles that we have, but the successes, and how did those different communities have the successes that they have come across. Already have had a couple reach out. They'd like to do the next one. So again, shout out to anybody that was part of that. And I know Mr. Malcolm was there, being able to discuss some of the conversations there, as well as Sergeant Dara from the LPS, and Mr. Hunter and Mr. Middleton Hope, Councillor Middleton Hope were there to share also as some of the lawlessness struggles that we're going through. So huge shout out to all of those folks. But Lethbridge puts Lethbridge on the map as someone that wants to be progressive, move forward. Let's share our successes with others. And with that, we're going. I'm scribbled on the back of your paper there, Mr. David. All right. We'll move by Acting Mayor Campbell, adoption of the agenda. Be it resolved, the agenda of the regular meeting of City Council on May 14th, 2024 be adopted as presented. Acting Mayor Campbell.
Are there any changes or omissions? Any issues? None?
See none.
Call the question.
Question's been called. All in favor? And that's unanimous. Thank you. And with that, I have a resolution from Councillor Crowson that we do enter a closed session. Be it resolved that we do enter a closed meeting at 12:53 to discuss confidential matters with respect to items 14.1 as per Section 23, Local Public Body Confidences, and 24, advice from officials of the Freedom of Information Protection of Privacy Act. So following the closed session, we'll be back again for public. And 14.2, I'm sorry, 14.1 and 14.2. Thank you.
I'll call the question.
And question's been called. All in favor? All right. And that's passed unanimous. Thank you. It's close. Barburrito salad with chicken.
Is required.
Chicken bowl.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's working now.
Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check.
All right, thank you very much to the community here as well as my colleagues, patients here. We had a couple of technical difficulties here with our system as well, so we do have that hopefully fine now, and it is streaming. I have a resolution here from Councillor Dodic, a reconsider adoption of agenda. Be it resolved that Council reconsider the motion to adopt the agenda for May 14th, 2024. Now, the reason we're doing this is that there was an additional item that was brought forward for closed session, and so we have to have 2/3 in favor of the motion to be passed, and because we added one additional item to the closed, so reconsider the adoption, and then we'll go into the adoption of the agenda again. So for the reconsideration of adoption of the agenda, Councillor Dodic.
Self-explanatory.
All right. Question's been called. All in favor? And that's unanimous. Thank you. So there being 2/3 in favor, the motion is passed. And the next one we do have from Acting Mayor Campbell, adoption of agenda. Be resolved that the agenda for May 14th, 2024 be amended to add 14.3 community housing matter verbal. Acting Mayor Campbell.
Call the question.
And question been called. All in favor? And that is unanimous. So being it's 2/3 in favor, the motion is passed. Thank you. Now we'll move to the consent agenda, a resolution here from Deputy Mayor Carlson. Now, I'm sure you all have on your agenda package as well as 4 pages. You won't want me to read through them all, but it is in the public agenda as well for those that are watching online. There are 2 items that have been asked to be pulled from the agenda, consent agenda, and that is 4.3.2 and 4.3.4. Or 4.22. Oh, why am I different here? Oh, the numbers are wrong. Okay, I've got 4.3.2, but okay, 4.2.2 and 4.2.4. Yeah, the CWSS is the 4. Let me just make sure that that's, 4.2.2 is the, CWSS, and 4.2.4 is the cycling lanes. So we've got 2 different numbers on 2 different agendas, so. Yes, don't pull that one. And 4.3.1 as well, which is a water services bylaw. So those 3 items, and so I'll go back to Deputy Mayor Carlson. The consent agenda as amended.
Review the minutes and the rest of the consent agenda. I saw nothing unless my colleagues noticed anything that they wanted to bring forward. I will call for the vote. Yes.
Yeah, we're just coming back here to committee submission. That will be recompiled for online as well.
Thank you.
And so you need some time for that, or we're good? All right. With that, question has been called. All in favor? And that passes. Thank you.
So I assume Blaine
All
just
right,
wants to vote.
I have a
against
resolution
the
here
process.
from Councillor Schmidt-Rempel and myself regarding physician recruitment. And I'll put the time over to Councillor Schmidt-Rempel if she wanted to open and kind of give some background to this prior to questions.
Thank you very much, Mayor Higgin. As the motion states, we approved our family physician recruitment action plan in 2022, and this council, as well as the city, have taken an active role in partnering and advocating for the recruitment and retention of family physicians over the past 2 years. This community has seen success in both the short and long-term strategies. As of March 2024, the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta reported that there were 303 fully registered physicians practicing in Lethbridge. That's an increase of 28 over the previous year. And in April 2024, the Government of Alberta announced that a new medical school program will be created at the University of Lethbridge and should be set to start accepting students in the 2025-2026 academic year. In keeping up with this momentum, it's time to update our action plan. As we heard last week in our professional development session on advocacy, a focus on healthcare is a priority to this provincial government, and updating our current plan would work within that priority. We also heard that ensuring the quality of healthcare and its certainty is a priority residents would like us to focus on as well. With that, I would open it up to any questions that my colleagues might have.
I do have questions, so thank you very much for that opening. Councillor Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for bringing this forward. Appreciate it. Just a quick question. This is council contingencies asking for $15,000. Where are we at in council contingencies through you, Mr. Mayor, to probably Mr. Matthews, since I see him pushing his button?
Thank you, Mayor Higgin, and to Councillor Carlson. The actual council contingencies is currently at $75,000 remaining.
Okay, thank you. Further question is this the same amount that we allotted before for our, and did we, thank you, I thought it was, did we ever receive any documentation on how that was spent?
If I could ask Ms. Kleisinger.
There was an update to council, but as this resolution states, that would be a part of the action plan. So as we go back and update the action plan, it will be all the tasks that have been completed in the last 2 years. So when it comes back to council, it will have a robust last 2 years of all the successes, plus an update of where we go next.
Okay, thank you. It's just, I'm always leery of just saying $15,000 without actually knowing how it's going to be utilized. So that's just a concern of mine, so I don't know if it, thank you.
No, I do have, it is in the resolution, but I'll have, if Councillor Schmidt-Rempel wants to speak to that.
So I do have some of the breakdown on that. It's not specific, but again, Ms. Kleisinger said it will come back. So we did spend $15,000 towards marketing and advertising, a dedicated webpage with web form for additional information on lethbridge.ca since the launch of the new website in April, and we've got the stats for users and visits. There was also the web form on that. There was marketing collateral as well as 2 advertising campaign. One was summer fall of 2022. That was social media marketing campaign targeting cities within the medical schools. And then in December 2022 to March 2023, there was a nationwide print and digital campaign, editorial in the National Post, as well as article in the Globe and Mail. So that is some of that. More details, I'm sure, would follow in the update.
And thank you, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I guess my question was, is the 15,000 the entire budget, or, because it seems like it's a partnership, are other folks bringing dollars to the table? That was kind of my question.
Ms. Kleisinger.
Just yell, Carly.
The last time that we took this approach, we did reach out to all of our partners to see who was interested, and one of the presentations we did to Lethbridge County was to Lethbridge County, who matched the funding. And so we would attempt to do a similar approach with any of the partners we have to ask what they'd be bringing to the table as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Middleton-Oak.
Thank you, Your Worship. So these questions are to the mover. In the motion, it indicates that this is for specialist recruitments. Is that correct?
It's family as well as specialists.
Okay. So specialists, you're talking about cardiologists and the like?
Yep, there is a list of physicians in specialty areas such as, but not limited to, anesthesiology, cardiology, child and adolescent mental health, diagnostic imaging, emergency medicine, geriatrics, internal medicine, obstetrics and gynecology, and pain management.
Okay. So do we have the infrastructure to support them? Do we have the facilities? Specifically, I'm thinking in terms of cardiac care. So do we have the facilities currently so that when the medical practitioners come here, they've got a place to practice?
Yeah, I can share. I'm sure both of us can hop in on this one here. But yes, there is space that is available right now. The hospital, if you want to talk about cardiologists, for example, there's space at the regional hospital currently, and that's what some of the campaign. And I know that the Chinook Foundation is currently working on a strategy as well, fundraising for cardiac sciences, the expansion of cardiac sciences within Lethbridge and Southern Alberta, not just Lethbridge, but of course the surrounding communities. So that, as well as anesthesiologists and any of the other specialty services are there is space for them. I just wish we had those bodies to fill those spaces, and if Councillor Schmidt-Rempel can add to that.
Yep, just to follow up with what Mayor Higgins said, that's exactly what we are looking at, is a gap in service. So we need the bodies to fill.
If we have, I'm sorry.
We are looking at a gap in service, and what we need are the bodies to fill.
Yep, good. Second question then is, who will develop this marketing campaign? And second question would be the action plan update that you were talking about. Who's going to do that and provide it?
So that would be done with our staff. Ms. Kleisinger and her team undertook that the first time. What we are looking at is directing the city manager to update the Family Physician Action Plan to include the initiatives that have been completed, as well as adding new initiatives that reflect our current situation, including advocating for physicians in specialty areas and exploring additional areas for partnership. What we're looking at is an update, and the city manager, I am confident, will be able to assign that work out.
Okay, so
And if I could just add to that,
the question then to the city manager would be, do we have the capacity to be able to manage that?
Yes.
Good, thank you. That answers all my questions.
That's perfect. I was just going to say that with and also Ms. Kleisinger, the work she's doing with other members of the community as well, the Chinook Primary Care Network, et cetera. So thank you very much for that. So the resolution is in front of you. To my colleagues, we'll open debate. Councillor Schmidt-Rempel, I can start, and if you wanted to close, is that fine with you?
Yep.
This is something that is we've heard loud and clear in our community, as it's recruitment of not just family physicians, but also the specialty services that some of these doctors do provide within our community. We've seen a dramatic drop within certain specialty groups. And so it's important to do our part. I know this is something Chinook Primary Care Network, and it's Alberta Health Services, and a lot of times you say, well, why are you getting into that lane? These folks are within our community. We want to make sure that we do have a doctor for everybody, any citizen within our community. So any part that we can do, and I see that a $15,000 is a pretty minimal amount to be able to try to start to do our part. or continue our part. I shouldn't say start, because I know Ms. Kleisinger and the group, we've sat down prior and have worked with doctors within Southern Alberta and have come up with some fantastic ideas for recruitment. As a matter of fact, the amount of doctors that we've attracted to our community is per capita here some of the highest across Canada. So it's a big shout out to all of those folks that are involved in helping attract these doctors to our community. So with that, I'll open for further debate, and my colleague, Councillor Schmidt-Rempel, can close. And so anyone else for debate? Seeing none, I guess we're going right to close. Councillor Schmidt-Rempel.
Thank you very much. I'm close. The City of Lethbridge continues to have an opportunity to play a role in the areas of coordination, marketing, advocacy, and partnerships, and promote Lethbridge as a great place to live and work and continue to address the medical needs of this growing community in a tangible way. This motion puts forward a pathway to update our 22 plan and continue to move forward on addressing an issue that is a priority to our province and our residents. Having the appropriate number of family physicians, specialty physicians, and other key healthcare positions requires collaborative efforts, and we continue to have a role to play in those efforts. And with that, I would ask for my colleagues' support.
That question has been called. All those in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Next one, I have a resolution, and I will read this one first, as I know I should have done on the last one to maybe help with some of the questions. But OBM from Councillor Schmidt-Rempel, post-secondary graduate retention. Whereas Lethbridge is home to three post-secondary institutions, Lethbridge College, University of Lethbridge, and Redco Community College, each of which contributes to the well-being and vitality of our community. And whereas graduates of those institutions have the potential to contribute to our community socially, economically, and culturally using the skills and experience gained through their studies. And whereas post-secondary graduates from these institutions are a much-needed source of talent and expertise for employers locally, provincially, nationally, and globally. And whereas opportunities may exist to positively influence these post-secondary graduates to remain and establish their lives and careers in the Lethbridge community. Whereas the Southwest Alberta Graduate Retention Strategy, a regional collaborative initiative, has been recently completed and released, therefore be it resolved that City Council authorize the Mayor to invite representatives from Lethbridge College, Redco Community College, and the University of Lethbridge to an upcoming meeting of the Governance Standing Policy Committee to brief the committee on retention rates among graduates and their respective and or collective efforts to support greater retention of graduates in our community, and provide recommendations on how City Council can support these efforts. And open for any questions. Councillor Crowson.
Not a question, a friendly amendment. Providing recommendations on how City Council can do it, but also the city as a corporation, because not everything is done by City Council. Mr. Brierley and his team do a lot more work than we do. Let's be honest.
So just how the city in general, the city would be City Council and administration, or how the city could support these efforts, City of Lethbridge?
Oh, the City of Lethbridge is fine.
Okay. Any objections to that? Hearing none, all right. Move forward with that friendly included. Councillor Middleton-Hope.
You ready for questions? Yes. Good. I'm just struck by our discussions with the Students' Union at the university and proposed conversations with the colleges coming up. I'm wondering if there is a role for either of the student unions to participate in the development of this report and or providing input, because the reasons that they stay or the reasons that they go are sometimes different than those of administration.
So, Councillor Schmidt, is that directed to the mover then? Councillor Schmidt-Rempel.
It's directed to them.
Thank you very much. So last week, we received the Southern Alberta Graduate Retention Study. It was included as part of the update from Economic Development Lethbridge. And I believe that the author of that study is still with us. He is with us, so we can ask him questions as well if we'd like. But the students from the University of Lethbridge, Red Crow College, and Lethbridge College were all involved in this study. So they had an active part in participating in this, and I believe there were over 3,000? Okay, 2,200 were surveyed in putting this study together. And that is available in the retention strategy report.
Thank you. I see no further questions, so to open debate, Councillor Schmidt-Rempel.
As I stated last week, the Southwest Alberta Graduate Retention Study was included as part of our package and update from the Economic Development Lethbridge presentation. The purpose of the project is to better understand student perceptions that influence where they choose to live following graduation. As you would have read in the report, there are also recommendations on work that could be done, some of which the City of Lethbridge may find a role to play. The report highlights 5 themes that act as influences on whether a student would decide to remain in the city or not after graduating. The City of Lethbridge has an opportunity to play a role in the retention of students in our community and work collaboratively within the Government of Alberta initiatives to retain and attract individuals to our area. And with that, I'm happy to open debate.
All right, I see no one in debate, so I think there's your opening and closing, or, oh,
I'm ready.
ready to vote, all right.
She had me at
Yeah,
governance.
for closing?
There you go. It's just, this is the first step, inviting representatives from Lethbridge College, Red Crow Community College, and the University of Lethbridge to an upcoming meeting of the Governance SPC, and it's to build an understanding of what role we might play to support greater retention of graduates in our community. And with that, I will ask for my colleagues' support.
And first of all, thank you very much for being here. In the case, we had some questions, so appreciate the work that's been done. And questions been called, all in favor? And that's unanimous, thank you.
And thank you to the University of Lethbridge and Lethbridge College reps that attended as well today. Thank you.
And removed from the consent agenda was bylaw 6445, amendment to bylaw 3999, water services bylaw, that's 7.0. So resolved that the City Council provide first reading to bylaw 6445, amendment to bylaw 3999, water services bylaw. Councillor Schmidt-Rempel.
Thank you very much. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the city manager designate, I just had a couple questions with regards to this. Since this does not have to go to public consultation, if there are residents who have feedback, particularly around, there were some concerns that I'm getting from landscaping experts around the watering hours, so that there is an hour on their black or blue bin days, but that might not be appropriate for their lawns. Will they be able to provide administration with some feedback on that? To see those water restrictions changed. Some lawns require 15 minutes of watering 3 times a week. So that's 45 minutes across the board, not just on the one day. So I'm getting some of those questions, and I just wanted to see where there would be an opportunity for residents or experts to provide some advice.
Thank you for the questions, and I believe it's important to bring these type of questions because this is the venue to communicate what we want residents to do. We have here today both Mark Svensson, who has been leading this work from the Waste and Environment, and also Liam, who is from our communications department. The first point of contact for the residents will be to go through 311, but at the same time, we have a web page that was published this week on Monday, was made available to all residents, that has some FAQ sections and some questions, and also has all the information where or to reach the city in terms of those particular details. And absolutely, we encourage people to either go to the city website or also to call 311, and they will direct them to the appropriate member in the staff that could help them with their questions or concerns.
Okay, so if we do have experts in the area, particularly around landscaping, they are free to contact the City of Lethbridge with that advice and discuss that with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. That was the only question I had.
Councillor Dodick.
Yes, this question is to the City Clerk, Mr. Sarsfield. I know other members of council might recall that in the past when we had bylaws that did not require formal public hearing, we did have a process that we called a public meeting, which was not mandatory, but allowed people who were interested in a bylaw and which might engender a fair amount of interest to actually have basically at the same time as a public hearing is heard, but without the legal requirements of a public hearing. So in other words, a public meeting that lets people come and ask their questions, make their comments and their viewpoints known. Do you remember that, Mr. Sarsfield?
I do remember that. We haven't had one of those for, I'm thinking it's been at least 10 years. So typically, what we have done in the current sphere is where we think a bylaw doesn't require a public hearing, but there may be sufficient interest to have people speak on it, for, against, whatever it may be. Typically, it goes to an SBC, and that allows the public to contribute. So that's the process we currently use. Like I say, I don't think we've done a public meeting for at least 10 years.
Yeah, I was there 11 years ago.
Mr. Sanchez? Oh, something to add?
Just was going to mention that again, that's a really good question, and how we try to, for this particular one, we had the survey, and also we did a stress during the community conversations event that we recently had. We had a dedicated section on the environment side to talk about water conservation and the benefits, and we did hear quite a bit from residents that attended this, and again, I will encourage if anyone has any questions or concerns to contact us, because our team is ready to answer any questions and to help and support as needed.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. I see no further questions. Oh, Councillor Middleton. Oh.
Yes, this question would be through Mr. Brierley to Mr. Sanchez in regards to, do we have a program to deliver to groups, a communication strategy? You and I spoke about that recently, and I'm wondering where we are with that.
Again, good question, and I will defer that to Mr. Spencer. We did chat about it, and our plan includes that roadshow or being available to answer any questions.
Yes.
So I have worked with my team a little bit to start planning for some education sessions or
information
great. Sessions. I have no idea how we word it during our little meeting, but yeah, some information sessions that we can put on throughout the city. We started that planning in looking for venues and whatnot. We can use room here in City Hall for some of them, but we'd also like to reach out into different areas of the city to have those information sessions and allow the public and whoever wants to learn to come and get a better idea and understanding of what the different stages are, what water conservation is, and what the things that they can do to conserve water in their area.
Right. So you're in the process of developing a rollout that could be delivered to community groups, as an example?
Yes. Yeah. And I have been meeting with
some... When will that be ready?
We're hoping to have some of these information sessions running in June, so in a couple weeks.
Okay. And so if a group wanted to contact some area of the city, probably through 311, they would eventually be directed to you, and they could arrange to have someone from the city come out to a group and speak?
Correct.
Great.
On that note, last night I spoke with I was a part of a panel discussion with a community group last night. This morning I was at downtown BRZ, put on a breakfast where, again, I spoke with, there's about 40 or so businesses from downtown there as well. So some of that has already taken place, and absolutely they can continue to contact us for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see no further questions, and to open debate, I know that this is for first reading. We will have this opportunity when it comes back for second reading as well, to have many other questions that may come up in that time. So from Councillor Schmidt-Rempel, can we put you on this one? All right, Councillor Schmidt-Rempel, if there's any debate to open this, or just did first reading? Yeah. All right. No debate on first reading. So with that, the question's been called. All in favor? on first reading. And that does pass unanimously. Thank you. So I have a motion from Councillor Dodic, bylaw 6434, 2024 tax installment prepayment plan bylaw 7.1.1 for second reading. Be resolved that bylaw 6434, 2024 tax installment prepayment plan bylaw be given second reading. Councillor Dodic.
Oh, thank you. Of course, everyone will be excited to know that very shortly, actually, starting May 15, 2024, the 2024 property tax notices will be going out, and with anticipation, like I said, everyone's awaiting those. The tax installment prepayment plan bylaw, the TIP, we do this every year, and what it basically does, it allows people to pay their property taxes in 10 equal monthly installments starting from August 1, 2024 to May 1, 2025. Settle remaining taxes via automatic withdrawal on the last business day of June 2025. Enroll new taxpayers in the 2024-2025 TIP cycle automatically unless they opt out. Everyone receives a 2% monthly discount on the credit balance through participation in the TIP. And the fifth thing is waive current year penalties by paying all taxes in full and submitting a TIP application form by September 6, 2024 with approval required. Like I say, we do this every year. There may be slight changes with respect to the discounts and things like that, but those are basically the highlights of the TIP program for the upcoming exciting tax notices that are coming up. I see some of the tax folks there. Yes, going in. Anyways, I would ask for, if there are questions, please feel free to ask me any.
Ask you any. Well then.
Sure.
All right. I do not see any questions. You must have been extremely thorough on your presentation. We'll put it that way.
Yes.
So thank you. No further. So take that as your opening and your closing.
You can.
All
I'll
right.
call the question.
With that question been called, all in favor? And that's unanimous. Thank you. And for a third reading, be resolved that bylaw 6434, 2024 tax installment prepayment plan bylaw be given third reading and the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign and seal the same. Councillor Dodic.
Call the question.
Question's been called. All in favor? And that too is unanimous. Thank you. And from Councillor Parker, bylaw 6435, 2024 property tax and supplementary property tax rate bylaw. For second reading, be it resolved that bylaw 6435, 2024 property tax and supplementary property tax rate bylaw be given second reading. Councillor Parker.
As usually, this would follow up the following resolution before, and I've been doing this for years, and so I would just ask, but we technically can't really vote against this, so this is something we need to vote by. No. Can we vote against this? No, I don't think you can, I think. Because if you don't, it's something more, this is more of a process, and for council has to endorse this for go, otherwise we'd be kind of in odds with the MGA, so I'd ask for council support. What would happen if we voted against this? That'd be interesting. Question.
With that, Councillor Crowson.
Oh, that sounds like a challenge to me, Councillor Parker. I do have a question to the city manager or designate. We do have under the report, it says property taxes will be imposed on all property owners in Lethbridge. Now, that's not completely true. I mean, they do pay parts of it, but we do have a percentage that is exempt. Can you tell the public what percent of properties are exempt from taxation or partial taxation in Lethbridge? Even if it's an estimate.
%.
About 17% now. So it's gone up 4% in the last few years. Again, essential organizations, it could be provincial government, could be federal government. It's organizations we need, but that does then put the tax burden onto the rest of us. And we do not get complete money in lieu from the provincial government when they decide to exempt properties. Is that correct?
That is correct. What the province pays for is grants in lieu is what they classify it as. And back, I believe it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago now, 4 years ago now, they reduce it by 50%. So they, even of the portion that was historically grants in lieu, was reduced by 50% from the province.
So the province decides who's exempt and decides how much to pay us for who is exempt, and we then have to find taxes to cover the rest of it.
That's right. It gets redistributed amongst all the rest of our taxpayers.
Perfect. Thank you.
With that, back to, I see no further questions or debate, so back to yourself, Councillor Parker. Question's been called. All in favor? I think we got over there. All right, good. I think it's unanimous. You didn't scare Councillor Parker. All right, perfect. All right. And for a third reading, where did I put, let's see. Be it resolved, the bylaw 6435, 2024 property tax, a supplementary property tax rate bylaw be given third reading, and the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign and seal the same. Councillor Parker, question's been called. All in favor? And that's unanimous. Thank you. I have a resolution here from Councillor Middleton Hope, bylaw 6436, 2024 downtown BIA tax rate bylaw. For a second reading, be it resolved, the bylaw 6436, 2024 downtown BIA tax rate bylaw be given second reading. Councillor Middleton Hope.
There we go. We'll open it up for questions.
I see nobody in for questions.
Okay, how about debate?
You can open debate.
Well, actually, I do have a question, but I don't know whether or not Mr. Brierley is in a position to be able to answer it. I don't see Ms. Amy's in the audience. But my question is in regards to needle debris, which we have allocated $120,650 to mitigate. I understand from a variety of different sources that that actually is dwindling on a fairly regular basis, and in fact is not the problem or the challenge that it has been. So may these funds then be repurposed for another component such as graffiti, which has significantly increased in our city recently. And so I'm wondering if those funds can actually be allocated.
Councillor Middleton Hope, this is for the BIA tax rate bylaw. This isn't. Not your budget itself. This not debating the budget. This is just. Yeah.
Is this not 6436? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is in the budget already. This is just for the tax rate bylaw for a second reading.
So we can't. Okay, we'll just leave it then. So go ahead, and if there's no questions, apparently, let's call the question.
Question's been called. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. And Councillor Middleton Hope, be it resolved, bylaw 6436, 2024 downtown BIA tax rate bylaw be given third reading, and the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign and seal the same third reading. Question's been called. All in favor? And that passes. Thank you. So we have a resolution here we're going to move to the two that were pulled from the consent agenda. The first one, 8.1.1, it was formerly 4.3.2, and it is whereas on May 13th, 2019, City Council moved to act as the interim decision-making body for all Family Community Support Services, FCSS, Outreach Support Services, OSSI, and Reaching Home funding allocations until such time a new body was established to make funding allocation recommendations. Be it resolved, the City Council transfer decision-making for Family Community Support Services, FCSS, and Reaching Home RH program level funding distributions from City Council to the Community Wellbeing Advisory Board, functioning as an administrative committee as shown in Attachment 1. Now, I did have this removed from the consent agenda, as I've expressed many times in the past, a little bit of concern with us not. We are elected to do a job. In my opinion, this takes away that responsibility. And if we're passing on the decision making and millions of dollars to another organization to just make the decisions on our behalf, I have concerns with that. I have no issue with them being a group that would bring that forward to council And furthermore, after the council could make that decision, and I understand that it's been 99.9% that we have, and I don't know if that's the exact number, but we'll say 99% has been just approved at council anyways. But when there's an issue on the community, and we're talking millions of dollars here, and it's allocated to a group, the calls are going to come to us sitting around this horseshoe. It's not going to go to the OSSI group or the CWSS group or those that are watching the FCSS, et cetera. It's going to come to us. And so for that reason, I think it's important as governing body here of the community, of the city, that we do take that responsibility and, all right, and are the final say on these recommendations that come forward. So with that, I will open it up to any questions. Councillor Carlson.
That was actually my doctor. No, it was my doctor phoning, so I hope it's nothing exciting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just curious. The resolution is to support giving the authority over to the CWS group, correct? Similarly, we gave away a lot of our decision-making authority when we gave, I thought it was the OSSI, maybe I'm wrong, funding to Lethbridge Housing. Is it your opinion that that was a bad idea, that we should, I guess I'm just curious of why that was a good idea, but doing this is a bad idea?
So provincial dollars that were, a majority of them in some of this as well, OSSI, which was passed along, FCSS, which we know, the Family Community Support Services, that's also minimal provincial dollars, matched a little bit by city. I think it's 20%, right?
More provincial. Yes.
Yeah. So no. With this, it's any decisions that majority of the ones that are happening around the community. And to your question about coming forward to OSSI to Lethbridge Housing, that was a path that was going to be taken eventually, as my belief, through the province. We did escalate that by moving it forward ourselves. However, it's done in many other communities. However, I have not seen reaching home funds done in a similar way that OSSI has been done. And reaching home is more federal, obviously flow through, than provincial, which is the OSSI. So don't know if you really have more confused you. I'm sorry, Councillor Carlson, if I did. But no, it's again, decision making. And if that was something that could have been remained here, maybe that was a decision that could have been changed as well. However, I believe it was going that direction, as most CBOs do have the OSSI funding within Alberta.
Thank you. I'll hop out for debate.
Councillor Schmidt-Rempel.
Thank you very much, Mayor Higgin. Through you to the city manager designate. We had this presented to us at the governance SPC. And just to repeat a couple of the questions that I had at governance SPC, so that we might be able to get a bit more clarity here at council, since not everybody was able to attend that. In the package, we have the terms of reference. And at this point, the terms of reference are draft only, correct? I'm seeing not, oh.
So yes, they were presented as a draft. They remain as a draft. And in that meeting, we did share that as an administrative committee, it would be a terms of reference of administration. There were a couple points that we had alluded to still working on. One of those was in relation to a specific question that you asked, Ms. Schmidt-Rempel, around LHA's participation. We have now included them as an ex officio, so that will be a change from the draft you saw at the last, and we've confirmed with them that that is an appropriate level of engagement and involvement from them. So that's an example of a change. It will not become actually adopted until we can take it forward to the advisory board to adopt as their terms of reference. So it'll remain in draft, and we'll continue to make some fine-tuning tweaks based on feedback. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay, and then one of the other questions was Councillor Dodick asked if there's an opportunity to pull this back if it's not working. Was that also included in the terms of reference?
So it's not included specifically in the terms of reference because it's council's, I think, authority to pull that back, which wouldn't be in an administrative terms of reference. But my response to Councillor Dodick at that time is council, just like you inserted yourself in the process in 2019, you can do that at any point, should we be missing the expectations of SPCs or council at the time.
Okay, and then this will come forward again, I believe it's June 11th.
So we have our final presentation of our kind of series that we've been going through this Thursday, and the recommendation from that will go to the June 11th, which will kind of complete our package of presentations. And if everything continues to fall into alignment, that'll be our launch of our new recruitment campaign for the Community Advisory Board, our launch for our calls for proposals for the new funding to be distributed, as well as sharing hopefully an approval from council on our new CWSS strategic plan. So those three things ultimately will all come out together on June 11th, should we continue to be moving on the same path that we're on today.
Okay, and one final question, Mr. Malcolm, just to follow up on what Mayor Higgin was saying, because I had the same concerns as well. How will council be updated on the decisions that are being made, and what will we be able to learn from this group, the new group coming forward as well? And will we be able to participate in sitting in on some of those meetings to learn from them as they're making those decisions?
Yeah, so there's a couple things there, not that will show up necessarily in the formal terms of reference, but what I can say administration is committed to is we're looking at increased transparency across the board. So we will be making sure that all minutes are posted on the city's website, that all agendas are posted, our funding decisions are more clearly articulated to the community, and we've committed to an annual updating to SPC. And then beyond that, in our contemplation around making sure that the door is always open for council members to come sit into those advisory committees. They won't be a voting member, obviously, but we would welcome coming and sitting and listening to the conversation. So we haven't necessarily confirmed the details on that yet, but that is something that we took away from our last SPC presentation and will commit to doing our best to ensure is in place.
Thank you very much.
So actually, Mr. Malcolm, if I could ask this here, so council can participate but doesn't have any say in it from what I understand. You can't vote, you can participate, and I guess my question is, decision making will be done through this body. Council will never fund the dollars, but where the funding goes towards, council will get an update but won't be in the decision making.
That is correct. So under...
That's fine. That's good enough. Thank you. Councillor Campbell.
So I'm clear, if, as the resolution stands, Mr. Malcolm, if this is rejected, what happens? What then happens?
So as I touched on in the SPC meeting, if at any point this does not continue on the path that we've outlined, we will resort back to the status quo, which means that all funding allocations would come to SPC and to council. So that would be our continued process. So regardless of the dollar amount, it could be upwards of $1 million, it could be $15. We would have to come through SPC and council.
In terms of the group that you have together working on this with this committee, this would be the recommendation that they all would like to see it, because they have the expertise of where the funding goes and that sort of thing, and the discussion is wholesome with that committee.
I can't speak to say that every member would necessarily be on favor, because we've had pretty robust conversations. Yeah. But as a whole, we have been engaging with current advisory committee members, community partners, and the community through our CWSS quite rigorously over the last year. And we feel that this is pulling together the vast majority of the perspectives. And I think you heard the SPC, there was a member of our committee who spoke out in favor. We do have received letters of email and support from members. So I think the majority, I don't want to go out on a limb and say everyone, just because I probably will miss someone who is maybe not.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Councillor Crowson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A question to the city manager or designate. How much money relatively per year does admin oversee through the procurement department that does not come to council? Just rough estimate. $480 million budgets. I know.
Not very often I get up when I left curve. Yeah, I might have to get back to you.
But it would be hundreds of millions.
Hundreds of millions,
and
yes.
You do it well? Like your administrative team handles it okay?
Generally, yeah, I like to think so.
A couple more million would not be a problem to do well?
No.
Okay. And how many grants do we already have that the administrative staff oversee through across departments. There's at least 10, 15 through different departments, isn't there?
Councillor Crowson, yes, there's actually probably well more than 15. I'm just trying to remember the schedule and back to the annual report. There's probably in the 30 to 40, depending on size, and some of them are multi-million in regards, like if you're looking at local government's fiscal framework, to all the way down to some smaller ones as well.
Sorry, I meant grants that we give out.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I thought you meant coming in.
The capital grant and things like that, completely done at administrative level. 12
Yeah.
organizations just received that.
That's right. So our community capital grants program, I can't think of the total number right now that were on there for awards, but they're probably to your number 10 to 15 groups within the community that we have, and there's a couple $1 million per year that we provide to that.
And all of those are set up. There's policies in place, matrices in place.
That's correct.
You got the authority from council, and you have the appropriate things in place, and the same would apply to this if this moves forward?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
I see no further questions, and so with that, I guess is there any debate, Councillor Carlson? Or question?
No, I'm in for debate. I'm not sure who's moving.
From governance, so Councillor Crowson to open debate?
So this has been a couple of years in the making. It has been sent back to administration a few times. People have had questions. And at governance, all members of the governance SPC did recommend bringing this forward to council and did support it. We did ask numerous questions of administration, and we do know that having it come to council is slowing down the process. There will be annual reports coming to the SPC and to council. This can, as you've heard, be pulled by future councils if there are any concerns. We already know that numerous grants and procurement are done at administrative level and are done well, and this would simply be one more area that we would be having administration work on, and I hope my colleagues will support this recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I won't repeat much of what Councillor Crowson just said. I'll just add my support. I think removing the political element out of these types of grants is to a benefit to our community rather than a detriment. And I think allowing the experts to do the work that they do without council saying, getting our fingers in, what is the phrase? Nose in, fingers out. So I will greatly support this. Thank you.
Councillor Schmidt-Rempel.
Thank you very much. I will admit that I had some serious concerns with the way CWSS was set up, the information they received and how they felt they were making decisions, as well as some of the groups that we funded. This community board has a critical role in both Reaching Home and FCSS to ensure the community is represented in programming and funding allocation requests. Our administration team has done some fantastic work. They have alleviated most of my concerns, and I appreciate the work that's been done here and recognize the importance of the decision that this group makes. I will be supporting this resolution because, like I said, many of my concerns have been alleviated, and I think this will move this process forward faster.
Thank you. I will not be supporting this. No surprise, I'm sure, as it's been that way for a couple of years. As we're going through this, and I know that the Reaching Home money is obviously a responsibility of the city, and OSSI is actually a direction of the minister. And so for that reason, I think it's important that council does have and it passed. It's not going to delay it a lot of time. We've heard already in the past as we went through this that it may delay it a couple, 2-3 weeks, or if it goes to an SPC and forward. That gives just additional debate, additional questions, additional engagement. It goes to an SPC, or community members can come in and speak to them, give the questions that they may have. We can look into that. So I just think it's far more transparent. And I mean, I don't know what our jobs would be if we're just going to give everything back to have community groups do this. So with that, I will not be supporting it. And back to Councillor Crowson. Question's been called. All in favor? Opposed? All right. Thank you. That fails. Sorry, I should put that, right? No, it's 2-7. And the next one from Councillor Croson is this was pulled from 4.3.2, is now 8.1.1. Never mind, sorry. We got the wrong one from Councillor Campbell. I was going to say we just did that one, 4.3.4, which was formerly was, and now 8.1.2. Be it resolved that City Council direct administration return to an Assets and Infrastructure Standing Policy Committee meeting in summer 2025 with an update on the downtown bike lane usage. And number 2, administration to return to an Assets and Infrastructure Standing Policy Committee meeting in summer 2026 with a report on the downtown bike lane usage, safety, and other issues encountered, and any modifications to address issues. Councillor Campbell.
I will open it up to some questions. Are there any questions? There's no questions.
No questions. Oh, Councillor Middleton Hope.
I guess the question is to Mr. Brierley. That we may decide changing the bike lanes at this juncture would be insufficient time to assess impact. However, we do know snow removal is an issue. What do we plan to do to enhance use and reduce impact to businesses and the public?
I'll defer that to Mr. Sanchez.
Thanks for the question. And yes, we know after the first snowfall that we had this year that there were some issues with the snow removal through the bike lanes. And in fact, during the second and third event that we had during the year, we did changes and modifications in the way we do snow removal. And to be honest, the amount of complaints and concerns reduced drastically for the last event, even though it was harder. But that doesn't mean that our team is still looking into different approaches and different ideas that we're gonna be testing again during the next snow season. And we also have staff that will be in downtown permanently. We have 2 staff that will be in constant communication and engagement with the BRZ and the businesses in order to ensure that we can actually continue the process of improvement when it comes to snow removal. So it's a work in progress.
Okay. So suffice to say then it's ongoing and we are seriously looking at it and it'll be part of any of the direction that we take moving forward.
Absolutely, and that will be part of the updates and the reporting back to council.
Okay, thank you.
All right. With that, Councillor Campbell.
This comes out of a very vigorous session that we had with Assets and Infrastructure Standing Policy Committee. It was a good couple of hours. We had a lot of input. And that was the whole point of why we had that meeting, was to have people come forward to give them their concerns. Overwhelmingly, I would have to say, I would characterize the bike lanes as being supportive. There was also those that said, we love the concept. There are some problems that we have to deal with. Here are some of the problems. Our administration has heard loud and clear from those people. But I think the key here is that we're going to continue on with what we've already established here and move forward with, should there be some changes necessary, they will be brought forward to us. But I would ask for my colleagues' support.
Councillor Dodick.
Yeah, this is more of a, I suppose, a symbolic debate, but I'm going to take issue with my colleagues' comments that there's overwhelming support for this. The fact that a few dozen people showed up over the course of 2 meetings to do that, it does not in any way suggest that that is a valid or reliable representation of what the City of Lethbridge's opinion are. As I mentioned at one point in time, and I indicated that the poll that was conducted by the Lethbridge Herald was not a valid nor reliable measure of support. Nevertheless, 729 people voted in that poll, and it was 544 that were against it and 175 against. So 76% against, 24% for. So I don't think anyone should suggest that there was overwhelming support for this. It was overwhelming support because for the people that attended, like I said, it was a few dozen at most. Now, going to what I was actually going to say is that I do support most of the bicycle lanes in the city of Lethbridge, particularly those like Scenic Drive that share the lane with pedestrians. In this particular case, what I don't like is that we heard from the Economic SPC questioning that for all intents and purposes, there really wasn't, in my view, any meaningful consultation with business owners on 4th Avenue South or 7th Street South before the bike lanes were put in. There's some evidence to that when there's a response to the queries on 11.1 question by Council or Deputy Mayor Carlson, which suggests that there's going to be more input. But of course, the die has been set, the money has been spent. We had for two bicycle lanes, 4th Avenue and 7th Street, the cost was $2.9 million, excluding whatever the operational cost for maintaining it, snow removal is going to be, of which $1.2 million was a federal grant, 1.7 came from MSI and pay as you go. So we didn't even get 50% funding to build these lanes, which, except for the one that goes west on 4th Avenue, really go nowhere. So that means anyone using them is going to have to travel on roadways to get to these and crisscross on them, and then based on what they're commenting on, apparently they're going to be only shopping on 4th Avenue South and 7th Street, because of course they can't have no bicycle lanes on other streets, but I digress there. So when the business owners really got to see the bike lanes in front of their business. There were a number of business owners that made their opinions known and how concerned they were, and social media came down on them. And to a large extent, or many of them rather, said boycott those businesses and things of that nature. But to be fair, I am aware that others did on social media say, ignore that, don't boycott them, and I do acknowledge that, and I do thank them for doing that. So like I said, this is a symbolic vote. The die has been set. If we were to remove them at this point in time, we have a federal grant of $1.2 million, which apparently has to be returned if we don't keep the bike lanes for at least 5 years. So I'm really going to be end it by saying, I want everyone out there, to the extent that they can, to support the businesses on 4th Avenue South and 7th Street South to ensure that, in fact, their businesses do not suffer as a result of these bicycle lanes. And I hope that the reality is that they do not suffer. I am concerned about that, and I think I wanted to get that message out. So my symbolic vote is against this, but I know it will pass. Thank you.
All right, with that, back to Councillor Campbell to close.
With that, I symbolically ask for your vote.
Question's been called. All in favor? Those opposed? All right. That's lost 8-1. All right, with that, we're going to take a recess and be back at 3 o'clock.
For doing what?
All right, we will continue as long as, Mr. Westerson, you're good? All right. We have Councillor Carlson had to leave. He will be joining us a little later, but he had to leave, and so we'll continue on with administration presentations. And 9.1, Mr. Laverty, Assessment and Taxation Manager, regarding the Targeted Redevelopment Incentive Program, the TRIP program for the 2024 municipal tax cancellations. Mr. Laverty, if you come up, and I don't know if there's any introduction or anything from the team, but if not, I think we've just introduced you, Mr. Laverty. Thank you.
Worship and members of council, I'm here today to talk about the Targeted Redevelopment Incentive Program municipal tax cancellations. The TRIP program allows for multi-year municipal tax cancellations on approved projects to incent development in the downtown, Warehouse District, 13th Street North, and for brownfield property. In 2024, there are 9 previously approved projects that are before council for tax cancellation. The tax cancellations are based on the incremental assessment attributed to the new construction. All properties pay a baseline tax based on the pre-construction value. Moving to the recommendations, each of these properties is highlighted with the appropriate municipal tax cancellation for a total cancellation of $171,083.43. So I'm here today to ask council to approve the tax cancellation process for 2024.
All right, do we have any questions? Oh, do you want to see the, oh yeah, I've seen it up on the screen, but I can read it to you. Targeted Redevelopment Incentive Program, municipal tax cancellations. Be resolved, the City Council approved the 2024 municipal tax cancellations for eligible TRIP properties in the amount of, and you will see them all up there on the screen. It's a resolution from Councillor Crowson. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll turn the time to Councillor Crowson to open debate.
Thank you for the presentation, Mr. Laverty. As we all know, this is a way of ensuring that buildings are rehabilitated or expanded and that work gets done. And this incentivizes and encourages the building owners to do work on them. And they pay the base assessed tax, but anything that the increase in tax, we cover for a certain number of years as a way of incentivizing this. We've already pre-approved this, these buildings in principle, but this is to make sure they're approved for the 2024 municipal tax, and I hope my colleagues will support this.
I have no one in the queue to finish debate. I take that as your opening and closing.
Call the question.
Question's been called. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. All right, well, administrative inquiries and responses, which have been included in your package, 11.1 and 11.2. And so we'll move to City Council updates. Oh, sorry, Councillor Schmidt-Rempel.
Councillor Crowson and I had a query that was on the April 23rd agenda. It was 11.2 land banking query related to industrial land. I believe that was supposed to come back today, or is that coming back at a later date?
Mr. City Manager.
My apologies. I'd spoken to Madam Clerk about that. We need a little more time to defer on that. There's some internal discussions that have to happen
Okay.
To provide the answer. I think we'd asked for a month, so it would be in June, basically.
It would be one of the meetings in June? All right, thank you.
All right. So City Council updates, Councillor Crowson and Councillor Schmidt-Rempel regarding Economic Development Alberta 2024 Conference. Anything you want to add to that? Go ahead, Councillor Schmidt-Rempel.
Not to that item. I had some other items to add.
All right. So for 12.2, Team Lethbridge update. Is that one you wanted? Okay. With those two, and something else to add to that than you wanted? Okay, go ahead.
So on April 24th, I attended the Imagine Lethbridge Our Journey Continues with Community Leaders event. It was a morning of idea sharing on how we can be working together towards a brighter future for the health and well-being of our city and its citizens. citizens. That report is coming back from Imagine Lethbridge sometime over the next month or so, and I will be sure to forward that on to council. At the April 24th Police Commission meeting, the commission received the regular monthly reports as well as information and updated information on the virtual opioid dependency program. VODP has been operating in Lethbridge Police Short-Term Holding Facility since April 2023 and was funded through a provincial grant provided by the Ministry of Mental Health and Addiction. A new grant application was completed at the end of 2023, and the grant application was approved at the start of 2024, and the contract with the paramedic service provider was finalized and signed. Part of the grant approval included agreement to offer virtual assistance to surrounding police services. So that means that when the paramedics are not needed in the holding cells, they will join the watch and conduct outreach in the downtown core focused on making connections with vulnerable community members and providing education about VODP. The Police Commission agenda is on the LPC website, and I'll also remind people about tomorrow's police service town hall to be held at St. Therese of Calcutta School from 6 to 8 p.m. I also attended from May 3rd to 4th the Alberta Association of Police Governance Annual Conference. Sessions included information on the work underway to create the new Police Review Commission and committee internal evaluation review processes, citizen engagement and multi-stakeholder partners in policing priorities and community safety, reviewing policies of the police service, police oversight, the Indigenous Justice Centre of Alberta. And some of you will remember the keynote speaker who was at Alberta Municipalities Conference. He spoke on looking at research and evidence-based practice that can create positive systems change. And on May 8th, I took the opportunity to attend the Alberta Municipalities session on Bill 20. There was some good information shared with attendees at that, and certainly Alberta Municipalities has followed up with other information, and I have forwarded that on to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Councillor Schmidt-Rempel. Any further City Council updates? Seeing none, we will move on to closed meeting update resolutions. And does anyone have a conflict on this that would like to recuse themselves? All right. All right. With that, resolution from Councillor Crozon, land sale Triple M Housing Limited, 14.1, be resolved the City Council approve the sale of 14.875 acres, more or less, of 3360 Cavendish Road North as providing confidential attachment number 1, proposed land purchase map to Triple M Housing Limited with the following sale terms. Purchase price, $3.22 million, non-refundable a deposit of 1.5% of $48,300, early access fee for access to the lands prior to close, $4,470 per month, closing date November 4th, 2024, and commission payment to the buyer's realtor of $31,500. And further be resolved that City Council direct that the closed meeting presentations, reports, documents, and discussions with respect to land sale Triple M Housing Limited remain confidential pursuant to Section 23, Local Public Body Confidences, and 24, Advice from Officials of the Freedom of Information Protection of Privacy Act. Open for questions. And with that, debate, Councillor Crozon.
I think the information in the motion is pretty self-explanatory. Simply want to thank the administration. It's wonderful to see industrial land being sold and more commercial activity happening in our community. And with that, I will ask for my colleagues' support.
Question has been called. All in favor? And that is unanimous. And thank you very much, Councillor Carlson, joining us again virtually. Thank you. And we'll get Councillor Middleton home. All right. 14.3, closed meeting, council housing matter. Well, it seems that way. Anything's housing now. Community housing matter, verbal. Be resolved the City Council direct that the closed meeting discussions with respect to community housing matter, verbal, remain confidential pursuant to Section 24, Advice from Officials of the Freedom of Information Protection of Privacy Act. Councillor Dodick. Question has been called. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. And we'll have a motion to go in closed. Councillor Schmidt-Rempel, all in favor?
Ooh, yeah.
And that passes. Thank you. All right. Coming back, I do have a resolution out of close from Councillor Dodick. Closed meeting, human resources matter verbal. 14.2, be it resolved, the City Council direct that the closed meeting discussions with respect to human resources matter verbal remain confidential pursuant to Section 24, advice from officials of the Freedom of Information Protection of Privacy Act. Councillor Dodick.
I would respectfully request unanimous council support.
Question has been called. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. And with that, we are adjourned.